What would you do if you were given the powers to jump back and forth between a fantasy world and our real world? Just so you know, this manga was created by the same person who did Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life and I Shall Survive Using Potions. Recently, orphaned Mitsuha has a healthy respect for money and a desire to live. Well, at least until she got pushed off a cliff. She wakes up in a fantasy world only to realize that she has the power to move freely between this world and the real one. A lesser person might embark on heroic adventures, but Mitsuha instead sets off to procure an arsenal of modern weapons, all for the singular goal to acquire 80,000 gold and the life of luxury she always dreamt of. Well, our main story starts with Mitsuha sitting there over a cliff, debating on what to do with life. She recently lost her mom, her brother, and her father in a tragic accident, to which she had to fight off all of her relatives to keep the money away from them. So as she's sitting there debating on what to do, these guys come up and hit on her, which is kind of weird because she gets mistaken as a kid all the time. She is 18, 19 years old, but she has the body statue of a 10-year-old essentially. So people mistaken her as a young kid all the time. So these guys come and hit on her, and she basically kicks one of them in the nuts, to which they get angry and they push her, and she falls through the crappy guardrail and falls to her death. So she thought. But as she was sitting there falling, she screamed, "I don't want to die," and reached out. And as she did, she gets she just magically wakes up in this forest. She's like, "Why didn't I die?" Well, I could be in a coma, this could be Isekai, which I highly doubt, or this could be heaven or hell. Just depends on what I landed in. So fast forward a little bit, she actually ends up waking up in this room. She was found passed out by this little girl named Colette. Well, she can't understand the language, she doesn't know why. So she sits there and understands the girl's name Colette, but there's a language barrier. And after thinking about what I just said about, possibilities of it being Isekai and stuff like that, she gets up and Colette shows her the village that she lives in. And you notice there's not there's no electricity or anything of that nature. And then Mitsuha asks Colette and the people of the village, do you have a cell phone? Do you have this, that, and the third? Well, after 3 days of getting to know the people in the village, Mitsuha ends up going with Colette into the forest to get food and collect some things and basically try to earn her keep a little bit while she stays in this village. And as she goes through, she remembers a little bit of the training that her brother, who's a survival expert, well, I say hobbyist really, but taught her, and he taught her a lot of things, and you find out throughout the manga as you keep going. So as Mitsuha and Colette are out in the forest, Mitsuha gets this weird feeling that they're being watched. Then she remembers that her brother taught her that usually when people are alone, there are animals that use this time to help train their cubs for kills. Well, that's when she finds out there was a wolf with her baby her baby little children, and this is their chance to get a kill. So that's when Mitsuha pushes Colette up into a tree, and then she runs away to distract them. And right before she ends up getting killed, Mitsuha just wishes she could be home, and then she just ends up in her brother's room. So she doesn't even think about it. She just grabs all the gear she can. She grabs a slingshot that can shoot metal beads, and clothes, knives, everything that she could use to defend herself. Well, she sat there thinking, I need to get back to Colette, I need to save her. And then she thought about her brother, and she's like, you're an idiot, but I still love you, that kind of thing, and magically appears back into the forest. Luckily, she's not too far from Colette, and after a battle with the wolves, where she ends up basically getting on the mom wolf and grabbing around the neck and everything and killing her, Colette takes her home, Mitsuha home, because she's passed out, and puts her into bed. But during that time, Mitsuha ends up talking to this weird ribbon entity, because she's in this weird, I guess I would say purgatory world, where she's in this white dress and just sitting there looking at this ribbon. Well, that ribbon was actually a god entity that travels between different worlds. And as Mitsuha was falling from the cliff, she ended up reaching out and grabbing this ribbon as it was going by. So when she did that, they became one, essentially. They got intertwined, and now Mitsuha has the ability to transfer back and forth between our world and this fantasy world. So after a couple minutes of talking with this fella that is, or whatever it is, the string thing, the string god ends up actually giving her the ability to talk any language that is presented. So she could speak whatever the foreign language is, or whatever fantasy language is in this Isekai world. And then when she comes to our world, she can even talk English, Spanish, Chinese, Middle Eastern, whatever comes to her mind or what she needs. And she can use her power to transport between stuff in our world as well. So with this knowledge, she ends up waking up in this bed where she finds Colette sitting there waiting on her, and she immediately starts thinking, I can start earning money, I can start doing things in this fantasy world to help me bring stuff over to my world, and vice versa. I can bring guns, I can do this, that, and the third. And that's when Colette sees her, and she's like, you can speak normally now, you can actually actually speak? She goes, yeah, sorry, I hit my head and I remember everything now. So after talking with Colette a little bit and thinking about her plans, she found out she was passed out for 5 days. So she's been in this world for about a total of 8 days. And after getting up and seeing everyone and everyone coming to check on her, because, you know, she ended up saying Colette, they went back in the woods where she ended up teleporting back to her world to try some stuff, get a shower, clean up, think more about what she needs to do, comes back. Colette was looking for her and she's like, you've been gone for a couple hours. I was worried they would have gotten you. And after a couple days, she goes, hey, after getting all this information from the locals, learning about the world, everything that's going on, because she's a foreign princess to them, and she literally goes with that story, she ends up going and meeting one of the local lords and one of the more richer people in the area, to which she ends up presenting herself, after getting a moped from her world and driving it there, that she is a princess from a foreign land, and she basically got lost from a party and she just wants to meet someone powerful that could probably help her. So after making an introduction with the lord and the family there, she ends up going to her new room, getting into this nice new dress, and going to this dinner. And at this dinner, she tells the story of she's from a land called Japan. She is basically got away from a power struggle she wanted nothing to deal with, and were afraid they would try to pull her for their own puppet needs between the two people who were supposed to take over. And she just wanted to get away, and she's basically by herself. She got separated from everyone, and all she has are like the stuff basically on her back. And it includes this necklace of pearls. So after a couple exchanges and presenting a gift to the lord that is a knife, as well as selling a knife to one of the kids, because, you know, she didn't think about it, she pulled it out from underneath her dress, she ends up, you know, going, hey, this is my backstory, I need money. So all I need is to get to the capital, start a general store, and I'll start supplying the needs. And from there, they start talking about different things of how to do culture, like how to farm, how to change different things to help the place she is in without even thinking about it. And then she got drunk, to which she ends up going, look, I need to sell these pearls. I want to sell them to you guys, which the family starts freaking out because those pearls are beyond any value that anyone could offer. If they went to auction, it would be like small nation fortunes for this. And to which she even tries to offer to sell the pearls to the wife of the count that she is dealing with. And after a while, she ends up opening more to make him fall in love, using tropes from manga and anime, because obviously it don't exist, to her favor, and they end up falling in love with her and liking her. Meanwhile, back in our world, she ends up finding this mercenary group over in America, and she talks to them and convinces the leader to basically, hey, if I got yen, will you teach me how to use small arms, self-defense, short swords training, a bunch of different things. And as she was leaving, they try to trace her, and she magically disappeared because of her power, but they don't know. And then after the Lord Manor and everything she did, she ended up going back to the mercenaries and got firearms training. They taught her how to use a Beretta, they taught her how to use different things, they offered a different variety of small firearms, and they supplied her with ammo after all the training. And the story ends with our girl going towards the capital to try and make her way there. Now, before I even go talking about the art and everything, I didn't realize this had an anime that came out in 2022, 2023. It's over on Crunchyroll. I thought this came out not too long ago, because my local game store that I, you know, buy stuff from and my manga from, they just got it. And who'd have thought? But hey, the anime's out, 12 episodes on Crunchyroll. I'm probably going to end up watching it after this recording. But the art, I love the art's, it's okay. It's nothing that's standoutish. Whereas I was talking with Deep Rapita that, you know, it was nice. It was not taking away from the foreground. This is kind of just your standard kind of art. While yes, the character designs themselves is amazing, and I kind of like how they give everyone exaggerated emotions and they portray it very well with the art. The background itself is okay. It's your standard fantasy stuff. The whole premise of the manga itself, though, is fantastic. I love the idea of this person who just wants to like do what she can to basically live in the lap of luxury from an early young age, and she has the ability to go back and forth. Why not use it to my advantage? And hell, now I can speak any language and I can do any of this. She's going to use it to her advantage to earn money, and I can't wait to see what happens. So let me know what you guys think on this. I'm gonna go watch the anime. I'm gonna go probably buy some more volumes of this. Well, I love you, I appreciate all of you, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.